Going? How's it going? This is Anthony, Blessing Christian Lifestyle. All right, so today we're going to go over the book of Daniel, chapter 3. All right, book of Daniel, chapter 3. So, Daniel, chapter 1, Daniel and, the Hebrews, they get moved to Babylon. All right, Babylon is a powerful nation. All right, very advanced. Remember, God hated Babylon. All right, in the book of Revelation, it talks about how God hates Babylon because they have so much sexual um immor what would you call it? Immoral. They're immorally so he hates it. All right. Book of Revelation talks a lot about Babylon. Um talks about Jezebel drinking out of the cup, all right, of the saints. All right. So they persecuted saints. All right. So that's very important. So we're in Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 2, Nebuchadnezzar has a dream, and he wants someone to interpret his dream. He wants somebody to have the dream revealed to them and to be able to interpret it. All right. And his sorcerers, magicians, pretty much his wise men, aren't able to do that. And they want him to tell them, hey, what was the dream? And then I'll interpret it. But no, he wants them to actually interpret the dream, actually have the dream revealed to them and interpret it. And Daniel is able to do that. All right. Daniel goes in prayer and God reveals the dream to him. Hey, how's it going, Leo? Thanks for being on. All right. Um, so one big thing to remember is the book of Daniel, just seeing Daniel's actions. Like it's very, you know, it's one of the ways that you want to follow God is through Daniel. We're gonna see here in chapter 3 how he pretty much disobeys the law because he knows that hey, he prays to God. All right, so let's just get into it. Actually, I'm gonna give it a few seconds. We're gonna read Daniel chapter 3. All right, so Nebuchadnezzar, he has this dream already revealed to him, and he has it already interpret. He's gonna become a wild man. All right, Daniel tells him like, hey. Also, he tells him that hey, your kingdom is gonna be taken over. Right, not now, but it's gonna be actually. It says here, but after you shall rise another kingdom inferior to yours, then a third kingdom of bronze shall rule over the earth. So it doesn't end with Nebuchadnezzar. All right, it's gonna go next kingdom, next kingdom, next kingdom. So right now it's Babylon. Next kingdom is gonna be Persia, and then after Persia is gonna be Greece, Alexander the Great, and then after that is gonna be Rome. All right, which Jesus was in the times of the Roman Empire. All right, so let's go to Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and width 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. So the king's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a huge image of myself, all right in the center of the province of Babylon. And King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather together the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the officials of provinces to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So he gets all pretty much the important people and like, hey, we're gonna have a ceremony, to bring this in. So the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judge, and all the officials of the province gathered together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So once again, remember in the book of Exodus where they worship the golden calf. All right, God does not like that. God is a jealous God. All right, that's one thing to remember. He does not want you worshiping any idols, anything other than Him. And now Nebuchadnezzar is creating an idol here, like, hey, who better than me? A golden image of himself. All right, let's see what happens. Then a herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery, and symphony with all kind of music, you shall fall down and worship the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. So it's actually becoming a law. Like, hey, when you hear all this music playing, all these, you are to fall down and worship the idol. So Nebuchadnezzar set this up. So at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and symphony, with all kind of music, all the people, nation, and languages fell down and worshipped the gold image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So it's like, all right, day one, everybody worships. All right, so now let's see what Daniel does. Therefore, at the time, a certain Chaldean came forward and accused the Jews. So somebody's going to tell on Daniel, like, hey, Daniel's now worshiping the golden image. They spoke and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, flute, harp, psaltery, symphony with all kind of music shall fall down and worship the gold image. And whoever does not fall down and worship it shall be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So Daniel is being set up here. Like, hey, whoever does not worship this idol is to burn in the fiery furnace. All right, they're setting this up. It's like because they know Daniel is not gonna like worship the idol. And then he says, there are certain Jews whom you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. These men, O king, have not paid regard to you. They do not serve your gods or worship the gold image which you have set up. So like he's pretty much telling on them, he's like, hey, they don't worship your gods, the gods that you worship, and they don't worship the idol that you set up. Like they're breaking the law here. All right. So here we go. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying to them, is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, that you do not serve my God or worship the golden image which I have set up? So here's the moment of truth. All right. Here's the moment of truth. He's saying, hey, is it true that you're not worshiping the golden image that I set up? So what would you say in this? This is like a life or death situation. It's like, is it true you're not worshiping the idol that I made a law to worship? All right. So a lot of people be like, no, no, no. Like this is very important to understand. Why? Because in Revelation, when the Antichrist comes by, all right, he's gonna make he's gonna make it a law like, hey, like he's gonna say he is God. You are to worship me. Therefore, get the 666 on, and what are we to do? Are we gonna be like, oh, okay, you know what? This is a life or death situation. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll just, do whatever the Antichrist says to do and just go along with it. No. All right. So this is very important. You don't go along with it. FY. All right, here we go. Uh, Now, if you are ready at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, psaltery, symphony with all kinds of music, and you fall down and worship the image which I have made good, but if you do not worship, you shall cast immediately into the midst of a burning fire furnace. And who is the God who will deliver you from my hands? So, how's it going? Thank you for being on. All right. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So, he's saying, if you do not worship the idol, you're going into the fiery furnace. And who's going to deliver you out of there? What God is going to deliver you out of it? So, he's challenging them. This is the challenge. So Shadrach, Daniel, Meshach, Abednego answered and said to the king of Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this is the case, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from burning fire furnace, and he will deliver us from your hand, O king. So Daniel's like, hey, challenge accepted. All right. Our God is gonna deliver us if you put us in the fire furnace. But if not, let it be known to you, O king, that we do not serve your God, nor will we worship the gold image which you have set up. So that's Daniel's response. Then Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, an expression on his face changed towards Cedric. Stay tuned because there's a huge part that's about to happen here. All right. A huge part. So please stay tuned. All right. All right. We're almost done with chapter 3. And he commanded certain mighty men of Baylor who were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and cast them into the fire furnace. So he got his people like, hey, put them in the fire furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats and their trousers and their turbans and the other garments were cast into the midst of the burning fire furnace. So they threw their clothes in the furnace. It's getting pretty hot. They're throwing everything in it. And the three men fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fire furnace. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar was astonished. All right, here we go. Verse 22. Therefore, because of the king command was urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of fire killed. I'm so sorry. I kind of skipped them. Book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse let's go to verse 20. All right. So he's going to command them to, like, hey, put them in the fire furnace. He commanded certain mighty men of Valor who were in his army to bind Shedrick, Abednego, and cast them into the burning fire furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, trousers, their turbans, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the fire. Therefore, because the king's command was urgent and the furnace exceedingly hot, the flame of fire killed these men who took up. So they're taking them into the furnace. All right, they're taking them into the furnace, and the people taking them into it actually got killed. All right, it was so hot they got killed. But Daniel and his friends, they're still alive. They're still good. Here we go, verse 23. And these three men, Shedrick, Abednego, fell down, bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they're in it. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, did we not cast three men bound in the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, true, O king. So they put three men in the fiery furnace. And then he says, look, he answered, I see four men loose walking in the midst of the fire. So the furnace is super hot. They put three people in there, yet there's four people walking around in it. And he's saying that himself, all right? And they are not hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. That is huge, right? The fourth person that was in the fire furnace was like the Son of God. Who's that? Right? Jesus Christ himself. He's like the Son of God. Like, whoa. All right. That's huge. All right. That's huge. This is the Old Testament. The Son of God is in the Old Testament. All right. There's actually a few places in the Bible where you see a reference of the Son of God. All right. There's actually one in Genesis. It's actually pretty cool looking them up. But um so yes. So remember, he said, who will deliver you out of the fiery furnace? And there's the Son of God literally keeping them alive. That's huge, man. That is huge. This is a big deal. I would say write that down. Daniel chapter 3, verse 25, the Son of God in book of Daniel. All right, here we go. Then Nebuchadnezzar went near the mouth of the burning fire furnace and spoke, saying, Shedrick, Meshach, Abednego, servants of the most, now he's saying, servants of the most high God, come out and come here. Then Shedrick, Abednego came in the midst of the fire. All right, so he's saying, hey, they worship the highest God of all. So first he was saying, who will deliver you out of the fire furnace? Like, you're pretty much toast, and now he's saying, hey, you, your God delivered you out of it, the highest God of all right, so that's what he's saying. When you're the here we go. And the satraps and governors and kings and counselors, everybody gathered together. They saw these men in whose bodies the fire had no power, and hair of the head was not singed, nor were their garments affected, and smell of fire was not on them. So nothing happened to them in this fiery furnace. Nebuchadnezzar spoke, saying, blessed be the God of Shedrick, Meshach, Abednego, who sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him. And they have frustrated the king's word and yielded their bodies, and they should not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore, I make a decree that any people, nation, of language who speak anything against the God of them, Shedrick, uh, Meshach, and Abednego. So now he's declaring, hey, their God is the God of gods. All right. Because there's no other God who can deliver like this. So this is a powerful God here. All right. That is the God that we serve, starting from the book of Genesis. All right. That's very, very important. He had a change of heart here. But it's actually kind of funny because he has a change of heart. He says all this, and then he falls back. All right. He's like, hey, like he witnessed God of gods. And then after a while, he falls back and it's like, oh, well, my pride is, you know, man, that is huge. That's something for us to remember. Then the king promoted Shedrick. So another promotion, Shedrick Music, Abednego in the province of Babylon. All right. And that's how it ends. Chapter 3. Son of God is revealed in uh, Daniel chapter 3, verse 25. Son of God. Who is the Son of God? That would be Jesus. I actually saw a movie of the book of Daniel, and they actually put like an outline of what Jesus, people think Jesus looks like, which is like, man, yeah. So that's very interesting. So most important thing, the book of Daniel is Son of God is revealed. Nebuchadnezzar says they serve the God of gods because he delivers. The God that we serve delivers. He delivers. He delivered them from the fire. He can deliver you from anything. And there's proof right there that the king of Babylon had a change of heart for that moment. He was like, they serve the King of Kings, and we are not to worship anybody but that king. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for being on. Uh, I'm going to do chapter 4. Chapter 4 is he's gonna have another dream. He's actually gonna become a wild man. That's gonna be Daniel chapter 4. All right. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you very much for staying tuned on here. All right. Thank you very much. God bless you.